First, I'd like to thank the Arcadia Hall of Fame Committee for this honor and congratulate my fellow honorees. Second, lots of hugs and kisses go to my family, friends, and teammates for sharing this night with me. And I think now I have to add the Arcadia baseball team. I met quite a bunch of you tonight. Good-looking guys. Good for you. Not so long ago, you might have found me sitting around a conference table with a recruit, hoping to convince her to spend the next 4 years playing for Rowan University. Such a huge piece of a young person's life, and such a critical time for developing the skills necessary for that final leap into adulthood. I sometimes wondered what experiences she would need to make that transition, and what part athletics would play. I remember being 17, sitting in a dingy classroom in North Philly, a number 2 pencil in hand, madly filling in as many multiple choice answers as I could on that dreaded SAT exam. During a break, I found myself staring out the window, wishing I was anywhere else but there, and feeling frustrated that my future was dependent on a bunch of silly dots on a piece of paper. I didn't even know what my future should be. I thought about being an artist. Unfortunately, I hadn't heard the name Benton Spruance, and so pictured myself draped in black, living in a 3rd floor walk-up in the village, living like a character out of La Boheme, and somehow knew it wasn't the lifestyle for me. For a while, I considered the field of psychology, but eventually found out that it meant 6 more years of schooling, and quickly erased that idea from my mind. The one truth I knew, through all my angst and indecision of what the next few years should be, is I could not put down my hockey stick. Whatever I stepped onto the field, I knew to the core that I became a person fulfilled, and I wanted to help others find that joy of playing. But I had serious doubts I would ever be as good as the young Brideman coaches that I had throughout high school. Sometimes it seemed just like yesterday that I mounted the steps of the main building at the Jenkintown campus, searching in vain for the hockey team and my new coach. I was late, not a good first impression for a freshman to make. For a brief moment, I wished the earth would open up and swallow me whole. Entering the building, I heard voices coming down from the far end of the hall. My heart beat faster. This was it. And I wondered what kind of a reception was waiting for me. People sometimes ask you, if you look back, would you change your decision about where you went to school? I just shake my head no. Beaver was not always perfect, especially when it came to facilities, but it was the perfect place for me. For when I stepped into that room on that late August morning, it was the beginning of finding the person I would become. Truly, for everyone, whether a day student, which I was for 2 years, or living on a campus, college should be a transitive process. And I don't believe it is meant to be an easy one, and it certainly wasn't for me. But I was lucky to be surrounded by some very special people, including Barbara Airstock, my hockey coach, and professor in the Health and Physical Education department, a person who was always willing to give me extra time to become a better player and showed me my worth as an academic student. Then there was Mary Semnick, who opened the world of lacrosse to me and taught me to look at sports in terms of strategic possibilities instead of limitations, which is pretty much how I think life should be. Outside of my major, Dr. Wong in the philosophy department introduced me to global thinking and context. Even the college itself, in the middle of its own transformation process, going from 2 campuses to 1, was an example to all of us that nothing in life is meant to be static. Every summer for the last few years, Mickey DeBase has hosted a reunion for many of the athletes that has played during our time at Beaver. As we sit and chat, I marvel at the people they have become, and can't help but know that Beaver and athletics played some part. I find them to be all truly successful people in every sense of the word. They are all forward-looking women, all have learned to think on their feet and to improvise, something that our professors in the phys ed department had truly mastered. Although we do talk sports, I still find in their thinking the liberal arts perspective, which sees the value of many avenues to follow in life. Above all, they emanate a goodness, which undoubtedly comes from the countless hours spent on the playing fields, where every day you must learn to balance your own desires with the good of the team. Sitting across from my many recruits at Rowan, there was rarely a time that I did not think of some lesson learned at Beaver, and I could only hope to pay it forward one more time for someone else. Thank you very much.